Hello and welcome back to the Hasbishan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time for something a little bit different. Although I'm pretty certain I've said something a little bit different in most of my videos, but this is a little bit different. So at the start of the season, I wrote an article on my website, which you can check out in the description if you haven't done so already, basically giving my predictions for the upcoming 2019-20 Premier League season. That was done nearly 12 months ago now as a result of the pandemic, which has overthrown the entirety of the world as we know it. But we have finally made it to the end of the Premier League season, very belatedly. It is now obviously July, but we have made it, and I'm recording this about 20 minutes, I'd say, after the Premier League season has just concluded. So what I thought I'd do is react to what I wrote back in August 2019 as to what I thought the Premier League table would look like. I'd like to get at least, one or two positions right. I'd hope so at least, but I don't know for sure how many I've got right yet, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. If you're going to enjoy the video, don't forget to slap a like on it, and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and comment down below with what you thought would be the champions, who you thought would go down in the Champions League, and see how well you guys did as well. Without further ado, let's get into it. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So, in 20th place, I had Sheffield United. I think that might be the worst prediction of the entire video. I think. I don't know yet. Sheffield United actually finished in 9th, and, well, clearly that's a long way away from 20th. I wrote, most surprising promotion from last season's championship. They haven't invested enough in the squad over the summer to stay up. Well, they didn't invest in their squad enough, but clearly they stayed up by a considerable margin, mostly thanks to the amazing genius that is Chris Wilder and his managerial tactics of defence as well as overlapping centre-backs, with Dean Henderson playing a starring role for one, as well as people like Ender Stevens and John Egan. But will they be able to push on next season, or will second season syndrome kick in? I don't know which one it'll be yet, but it'll certainly be one of the two. Oh no. So in 19th, I had Brighton. So I wrote, their biggest mistake was sacking Chris Hughton. In his place is Graham Potter, a wildcard choice, which I can't see paying off. Brilliant. Okay, so, well, clearly it has paid off because Brighton they won on the final day of the season to give themselves their best ever Premier League points tally, which was enough to see them finish in 15th. This is going awfully so far. 18th, I had Norwich. Okay, I'll take Norwich being an 18th. So I said their season may hinge on whether or not Timu Puki can keep up his amazing goal scoring record from the Championship and the Premier League. If he can, they stand a chance. If he can't, they will plummet without a trace. Well, he did, and they stood a chance. And then he fell off a cliff, and then of course Norwich plummeted without a trace. In fact, they finished on 21 points and were hammered 5-0 by Man City in the final game of the season. So, whilst I didn't predict Norwich's exact position, I'm happy with the fact that I predicted them to be relegated. So, I'm alright with that one. I'm happy with that prediction. Well, I predicted Burnley to finish in 17th.
They've just finished 10th.
A long way away from where I predicted. I wrote, only just. It was almost a toss of the coin between the Clarets and Norwich. If you say that it was almost a toss of the coin between Burnley and Norwich, you'd be laughed out the door. There's a 33-point discrepancy and 10-place difference in the league between those two. So clearly, it wasn't Burnley staying up only just. It was Burnley staying up by a very considerable margin and Norwich going down, also by a considerable margin. In 16th place, I had Newcastle, which is okay because they finished in 13th. I wrote before this week, I had them nailed on for relegation. But after the purchase of Joe Linton and Sam Maximan and Jetro Willems, their squad looks better. Now, Willems was good when I saw him play, Sam Maximan was an absolute devil, and Joe Linton is, well, the devil. But Newcastle has stayed up, so I was right on that one, because I did also write that they were nailed on to go down as well in my original thought processes, but I just about predicted them to stay up by the end of it, and I'm glad I did so because I don't look as much of an idiot as I would have done otherwise. 15th place I had Aston Villa, so I'm okay with this one actually. They only just survived, of course, on the final day of the season after drawing with West Ham to keep their place in the league ahead of Watford and Bournemouth. You'll have noticed that both of those sides haven't featured yet.
It's not a good sign.
I wrote about obviously Villa's extensive transfer business, spending more than £100 million as Fulham did last season. But whilst Fulham went down spectacularly, Villa just about survived as a result of being unbeaten in the last 4 games. I said it was a risk, but I thought it would work, and I was right. So I'm okay with this one. I'm happy with this prediction. So in 14th place, I had Crystal Palace. Now, didn't they finish 14th? They did finish 14th. I've got one right. I've actually got a prediction right. I don't believe it. How on earth? I genuinely went into this thinking I had no predictions right, but I've got one. So I'll take it. I mean, I got Norwich relegated as well, but I got one right at least. So this hinges on one player and one player only, Wilfried Zaha. If he stays, then 14 is an achievable target. If he leaves, they will surely go down. Well, Zaha didn't have the best season as a whole. Perhaps he's been swayed by, bigger prospects elsewhere, but I think his boat has certainly floated away of going to a bigger club by now, as a result of this season especially. But they've finished in 14th, and I predicted them to finish in 14th, so I'm very happy with that one. The positions between 17th and 11th, because of the considerable gap between the standard top 6 and the teams below them, they're quite difficult to predict. So I'm happy to get one of them right in this little mishmash bundle that is the lower half of the Premier League. Oh no, in 13th I had Bournemouth. Well, that's not gone very well, has it? As wrote, Bournemouth have become the Wigan of the Premier League, a side that originally came up expected to go straight back down, but here we are with a 5th consecutive season of top-flight football under their belts. Eddie Howe's men will surely cement themselves in mid-table mediocrity once more. I mean, they'd take mid-table mediocrity right now, wouldn't they? Because they have just sunk straight back down to the Championship. And to be honest with you, I don't see them recovering. If they do recover, then clearly Eddie Howe is a managerial genius because, well, Bournemouth have been sinking ever since 2017, and clearly, I think their stay in the Premier League has felt like a missed opportunity. They could have pushed on and maybe tried to challenge for Europe. I know that sounds a bit outlandish, but they really could have done under Howe's guidance. But as a result of this season, I really don't see them coming back to the Premier League anytime soon. And it's a shame, really, because they deserve much more, as does Howe. But that's the Premier League for you. It's a ruthless business. In 12th, I had... Oh, no. Well, here comes the other relegated side. So I wrote... Oh no, I can't believe I wrote this. Beaten FA Cup finalists Watford started last season well, but fell off towards the end. They cannot keep that downward spiral in motion, and I don't think they will. Javi Gracia has actually kept his job for more than a season, which by Watford standards is Sir Alex Ferguson levels of managerial stability. Little did I think that Watford would go through three managers, and they're now on their 4th with Hayden Mullins. They went through Javi Gracia after just 4 games, Quique Sanchez-Flores after about 10 for the second time, and then Nigel Pearson, for some reason I don't understand, 2 games before the end of the season. Watford are going down as a result of the Pozzos and not as a result of the players, I think. But the Pozzos have just hired and fired managers willy-nilly for the last 7 seasons, and considering it's always worked, they thought it would work again. Well, clearly this time, as was expected to happen eventually, it hasn't. And Watford have just gone straight down to the Championship again. So in 11th place, I had Southampton, and believe it or not, I got it right again. So I've actually got 2 right. Well, 3 right, including Norwich, technically speaking. So I'm pleased with this so far. All right, my first bold call in this prediction so far, I'd say. I think it was quite bold, because at the start of the season, I think this claim was looking a bit ridiculous, especially after that 9-0 loss to Leicester back in November. But Ralph Hasenhüttl has done an incredible job guiding the Saints back up to 11th with a higher points tally than when they finished 8th 3 seasons prior. So clearly that man is a genius, and he's galvanised his players, got Danny Ings to be in contention for the Golden Boot. Ralph Hasenhüttl clearly is a manager who is too good for Southampton, but they should keep him and hold on to him as much as possible, because without him, the Saints might struggle. In 10th, I had West Ham.
Oh, great.
Well, they finished in 16th as a result of their draw against Aston Villa and Brighton overtaking them, so I'm a way off with this one. Although I did write they could implode or they could explode. However, the second year running, their signings have been brilliant, with Sebastian Haller and Pablo Fornals both excellent additions. Well, Haller has scored 4 or 5 goals all season, so for £45 million, that isn't great at all. But West Ham, they should be doing so much more with the squad that they have. I mean, they've got Felipe Anderson, Haller, Fornals, Mark Noble, Declan Rice, Issa Diop, Fabianski. They should be doing so much more. And 16th is not a true reflection of the squad, but a reflection of potentially the chemistry within the squad and their manager David Moyes. 9th place, I had Leicester. This would have been even more ridiculous if Leicester had continued their amazing early season form that saw them pick up 38 points from just 16 games. But ever since that 16 game mark, they've picked up 24 from 22 and have slid from 2nd and 14 points clear of Man United on New Year's Day to 5th, 4 points behind Man United come the final day of the season. I wrote, Harry Maguire is a huge loss in their defence, but Ayoze Perez is a solid addition from Newcastle, and Yuri Tielemans on a permanent basis could be one of the signings of the season. Now, he was originally, but then he, like Leicester's, form fell off a cliff come New Year, and as a result of that, they've ended up in the Europa League, which I'm sure most fans would have taken at the start of the season, but considering the start they had, they surely must have wanted the Champions League, and Brendan Rodgers will view that as a missed opportunity, I feel. He shouldn't be sacked though, and if Leicester fans do want him out, that's a bit ridiculous. But if this downward spiral continues into next season, then there could be some serious questions asked about Rodgers' managerial credibility. In 8th I had Wolves. Now I know that Wolves finished 7th, so I'm really not far off with this one. I didn't think they'd break into the top 6 just yet, but I knew that they would come very, very close. But I wrote the surprise package of last year no longer have that factor, but what they do has a very solid squad across the board, and they've only strengthened. Playing the Europa League will hinder them, however, so I do expect them to miss out on that potentially coveted 7th spot, but only just. Enjoy the adventure while it lasts, Wolves fans. Well, they're still in the Europa League. They might even win it, who knows, and get into the Champions League. But they haven't missed out on the coveted 7th spot. They very much got it. So, quite clearly, Wolves fans are going to enjoy the adventure a little bit more, provided, of course, Chelsea can win the FA Cup and or Wolves win the Europa League, which they're still in. In 7th, I had Everton. And that hasn't really gone very well, if I'm being honest. I said, surely this time Everton's mega transfer business will pay off. It hasn't. They finished in 12th. Mass expenditure in the last 2 seasons has not reaped many rewards, but they've signed an all-rounder in Fabian Delph, a promising striker in Moise Kean, and a fan favourite in Andre Gomes on a permanent basis. While Delph has just basically gone into Twitter spats, Moise Kean has scored once and been subbed off after 19 minutes, and Andre Gomes has been injured for most of the season, so...
Great calls there, Harry.
The loss of just a game will hurt, but 7th is the aim for now, with intent of cracking the top 6 at some point, maybe next season. I mean, considering how they've done this season, I don't think they're going to crack the top 6. Although Ancelotti, don't underestimate his influence. I think they will get back to playing good football. But Everton in 7th, not the best call in the world. In 6th, I had Manchester United. They finished in 3rd. So that's not a good call yet again. Now, this didn't look like too bad a prediction at the start of the season, especially when they floundered towards the relegation zone come October, November time. But they've really turned it around ever since then, and the arrival of Bruno Fernandes has just been an incredible addition to the squad. It's galvanised them, and as I said, they've turned a 14-point deficit on Leicester into a 4-point lead by the end of the season, and they finished in 3rd, qualifying for the Champions League. I did write, do the players firmly believe in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? If so, the coveted return to the Champions League will probably occur. If not, then they'll be stuck in the same tournament as a university team. Well, they are still in the same tournament as a university team, but they won't be for much longer, and that coveted return to the Champions League is going to happen. Oh no, I had Chelsea. Oh, I was 1 place off. I was 1 place off. I was so close. Oh no, it means I put Spurs and Arsenal in the Champions League places. Well, Chelsea have had a great season, really. I mean, they're still in with a chance of winning the FA Cup. They finished in 4th with a squad that is extremely young, and with, of course, that transfer ban hanging over them over the entirety of the season. They've done a decent job, really, and their youngsters have really flourished. I mean, Fikayo Tomori has been good most of the season, so has Abraham, Mount, and of course, their big money arrival in Pulisic, who's been one of their star players ever since lockdown for football was ended. But the thing is, this is a great basis for Chelsea, because now they have Champions League football and they don't have that transfer ban, and they have the arrivals of Hakim Ziyech and quite probably Timo Werner as well on the way. If Chelsea don't challenge for the league title next season, there might be some serious questions asked of Lampard's managerial ability. But it's a good solid first season for Lampard as Chelsea boss, but now is the time to kick on. So in 4th, I had Arsenal. Well, I put a bit of a bold call, but Arsenal's attack looks frightening. Adding Nicolas Pepe, who has flopped, to an attack of Alexandre Lacazette, who has also flopped, and Golden Boot winner Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who hasn't flopped admittedly, will scare the life out of defenders. Unfortunately, their own defence doesn't scare the life out of other attackers, although Kieran Tierney is a great purchase, and David Luiz could, underlined and in bold, be 2. Well, that didn't really happen at all. They finished in 8th, which is their lowest position, I believe, since the mid-90s, and that's not a good stat to hear. For an Arsenal football team that haven't had Champions League football for the last 3 seasons, there is now a very real possibility that they might not even be playing in Europe next season, and they need to win the FA Cup final to get into the Europa League. Will they get back to the Champions League anytime soon? Who knows? Arteta's got a lot on his hands over the next couple of seasons. In 3rd, I had Spurs, and Spurs have just about managed to finish in 6th. Now, they're 14th in November, of course, when Pochettino was sacked and replaced by Mourinho. And whilst I don't think Mourinho has been a massive improvement to Spurs, he has obviously done some good job, because he's got them from 14th to 6th, although that squad should be much higher. I wrote, they actually made a signing. If Christian Eriksen stays, their midfield with Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy Ndombele added to it will be one of the best in the league. Well, Ndombele has flopped, and Lo Celso's apparently look quite good, so, you know, swings and roundabouts again. Furthermore, lack of interest in players like Dele Alli and Harry Kane means that they are more than happy to stay put. They are almost ready for a fully fledged title challenge, but 3rd will suffice for now. It definitely will suffice. It definitely would be a thing that Spurs would bite your hand off for at this stage. Not even playing Champions League football now. Man United have overtaken them to get back into the top 4. And so, well, where do Spurs go from here? And in second, I do remember this one, I had Liverpool. And as you might expect, number 1, I had Man City. And as you know, my predictions have been flipped on their head. Although originally, I did have Liverpool to be champions, especially with Virgil van Dijk, their front 3, and Alisson, as I wrote. But I wrote, however, where is the backup to the front 3? If they get injured, they have, barring Xherdan Shaqiri, no one on a similar level to them in that area. Well, they did buy a backup in Minamino, and it looks quite good, but Origi's still not there yet. But quite frankly, Henderson has been unstoppable this season. Salah, Firmino and Mane have been their excellent best, and Van Dijk has just been a colossus at the back. But of course, they didn't get 100 points. They got 99, which is very close to 100 points, obviously, but they didn't get 100 points, so City still hold that distinction. I say originally I did have them down in first, but I changed my mind last minute because, of course, my team, Man City, I had down in first. I wrote this. They have accrued 198 points in 2 seasons, their squad depth is ridiculous, and the signings of Rodri and João Cancelo have just allowed them to push in front of Liverpool. Well, Rodri's been very good, João Cancelo, a lot less so. Furthermore, the return to fitness of Kevin De Bruyne will feel like a new signing in itself. Damn straight it has. I mean, De Bruyne has broken or equaled the record of Premier League assists for a season with 20, and he scored like 13 or 14 goals as well. If he doesn't win the Player of the Season award, I don't quite know what's wrong with the PFA and why they have such a vendetta against Man City players. It will be close again, maybe not the stride-by-stride race of last season, but it will certainly go to at least the penultimate game. It went to the 8th to last game of the season. So, you know, only 6 games off with that. So, in all, I got 2 of them right. I also got Norwich to go down, admittedly, but I didn't get any of the top 4 right. I got Liverpool and Man City the wrong way round. I didn't even get the title winners. And basically, the entire top half is a mess in terms of my predictions. So, clearly, I'm not the footballing god at predicting, but I don't think anyone is, to be honest. Ah, dearie, dearie, dearie me. Now, I also did an alternative Premier League predictions where I basically ranked the teams on how much I liked them, or reasons to like them, or reasons to hate them, and stuff like that. Obviously, it was a complete joke. I mean, I had Man United down in 20th, Chelsea in the relegation zone as well, and Liverpool down in 7th, Bournemouth in 3rd, and Burnley in 4th. So it clearly wasn't very good, but thankfully, I did better in my actual Premier League predictions than I did in this one, as I only got 1 team right, and that was Aston Villa, as they finished in 17th. Every other team I got wrong. That is me reacting to my absolute catastrophes that were my Premier League predictions for this season, now last season obviously, because it has finished, finally. But of course I will do a video for the new Premier League season, 2020-21, which I'm absolutely buzzing for. That is the Premier League season done. Congrats to Liverpool for being champions. Commiserations to Bournemouth, Watford and Norwich for going down. And Man City, now it's time to step up your game. Please. I beg of you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, comment down below again with what you had as your own predictions, and subscribe to the channel. Why not? But until next time, I'll see you then.